Peace is not merely the absence of conflict. It is the presence of divine order, a state where the heart, mind, and soul are in perfect harmony with their Creator. It is not something that can be imposed from the outside, but must be cultivated from within. True peace begins in the heart before it manifests in the world. It is a divine gift granted to those who align themselves with the principles of truth, justice, and mercy. To achieve peace, one must first understand that it is a byproduct of submission. When a person surrenders their will to the divine, they step into a realm where fear, anxiety, and restlessness lose their grip. The heart that is anchored in faith is not easily shaken by the storms of life. No external force can steal the peace of one who has entrusted their affairs to the one who controls all things. Peace is achieved when justice prevails. Injustice breeds unrest, and oppression fuels conflict. But where there is fairness, there is tranquility. This is why the foundation of a peaceful life is built upon the pillars of honesty, integrity, and compassion. A person who upholds these values creates an environment where peace can flourish, not only for themselves, but for those around them. Forgiveness is another key to peace. The human heart was not designed to carry the weight of grudges, resentment, and hatred. These burdens suffocate the soul and block the flow of inner tranquility. True peace is found in letting go, in extending mercy to others, just as one hopes for mercy from the divine. The one who forgives is the one who is free, for peace is not held hostage by the past, but thrives in the space of a purified heart. Gratitude is the fuel that sustains peace. A heart that is content with what it has is at rest. Dissatisfaction is the enemy of tranquility, for it leads to a constant state of longing and unrest. But the one who recognizes the blessings in their life, no matter how small, walks in a state of peace that cannot be disturbed by the temporary ups and downs of this world. True peace is also found in service. When a person shifts their focus from self-centered desires to the well-being of others, they unlock a deeper sense of fulfillment. Serving humanity, helping the needy, and uplifting those who are struggling bring a peace that material success alone can never provide. There is a divine law that states the more you give, the more you receive, not just in wealth, but in contentment and inner harmony. Peace requires discipline. It is not enough to desire tranquility. One must actively cultivate it through daily practices of prayer, reflection, and self-control. The one who disciplines their thoughts, emotions, and actions will find that peace becomes their natural state. They will walk with clarity, speak with wisdom, and move with purpose. Ultimately, peace is not a destination, but a way of life. It is the result of living in alignment with divine principles, of striving for righteousness, and of embodying love, patience, and humility. The one who finds peace within will naturally spread it to the world around them, becoming a source of light in a world that is often clouded by darkness. Peace is not something that can be bought, negotiated, or manufactured by human hands. It is the natural result of alignment with a higher order, a divine structure that governs all things. The heart that is in submission to this order experiences a tranquility that the world cannot give nor take away. Submission is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of wisdom. It is the recognition that we are not in control, but we are under the authority of the one who is. The storms of life come to everyone. There are struggles, uncertainties, disappointments, and pain. But the difference between a heart that is at peace and a heart that is troubled is in where it finds its anchor. When the soul submits, it no longer fights battles that are not its own. It no longer wrestles with things beyond its power. It trusts, rests, and remains steady even in the face of adversity. True submission brings a sense of clarity and direction. It allows a person to walk through life without unnecessary burdens of worry and fear. When the mind is at peace, relationships flourish, decisions become wiser, and life becomes more purposeful. Peace is not found in the absence of challenges, but in the presence of unwavering trust in the one who holds all things together. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict, it is the presence of justice. Without justice, there can be no true peace, because where injustice reigns, hearts are troubled and minds are restless. Justice is not defined by human emotions or personal interests. It is a divine principle that establishes balance in life. It ensures that rights are upheld, responsibilities are fulfilled, and every individual is treated with dignity and fairness. When people live in accordance with justice, they create an environment where trust can flourish. Trust is the foundation of peaceful relationships, whether in families, communities, or nations. When justice is neglected, trust is broken, and where trust is broken, fear and suspicion take its place. A person who is wronged and finds no justice in this world is left with a wounded heart, and a wounded heart cannot experience peace. Justice begins with each individual. It starts with honesty in words and actions, fairness in dealings, and standing up for what is right even when it is difficult. A peaceful society is not built by those who seek their own advantage at the expense of others, but by those who uphold justice even when it does not serve their personal interests. When justice is established, peace follows naturally, like a river flowing effortlessly along its course. True peace begins within the heart, and the heart can never be at peace unless it is connected to its Creator. When a person is disconnected from the source of life, they will always feel a void, a restlessness that no amount of wealth, power, or success can fill. The heart was designed to find its ultimate tranquility in the remembrance of the one who created it. When people search for peace in material things, they only experience temporary relief. The world offers distractions, but not solutions. Some chase after wealth, believing that financial security will bring peace. Others seek status, thinking that recognition will fill the emptiness. But how many times have we seen people who have everything the world can offer, yet live in deep distress? Their hearts are troubled because peace does not come from the outside, it comes from within. When a person turns to their Creator with sincerity, trusting in divine wisdom, the storms of life may rage around them, but inside they remain calm. They know that nothing happens without purpose, that every test has a lesson, and that every hardship is followed by ease. When the heart finds rest in this truth, anxiety is replaced with trust, and fear is replaced with faith. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of unwavering certainty in the one who controls all things. True peace in life is found through submission to divine guidance. When a person tries to control every aspect of life on their own terms, they inevitably encounter frustration, disappointment, and anxiety. But when they surrender to a higher plan, trusting that every event, both joyful and painful, carries wisdom, they experience inner calm. Submission does not mean weakness. It is the greatest strength. It means recognizing that there is a greater wisdom beyond human understanding, and that by aligning one's will with divine guidance, life becomes purposeful, meaningful, and filled with clarity. Many people struggle with inner turmoil because they resist the natural flow of life, trying to control outcomes that are beyond their power. They hold on to their own plans so tightly that they fail to see the greater plan at work. When a person surrenders to divine will, they stop fighting unnecessary battles. They stop worrying about things they cannot change. They stop carrying burdens that were never meant for them. Instead, they learn to trust, to flow, to walk with confidence, knowing that every closed door is leading them to a better path. Peace is not found in trying to control everything. It is found in letting go and trusting the one who controls everything. True peace is impossible without justice, because justice is the foundation upon which harmony is built. A person cannot have inner peace while harboring injustice in their heart, nor can a society experience peace if oppression, dishonesty, and corruption prevail. Justice is not just about fairness in legal matters. It is about giving every individual what they deserve, whether in relationships, in business, in leadership, or in everyday dealings. Many people live in conflict because they refuse to treat others with the respect and dignity they expect for themselves. They seek their own advantage at the expense of others, creating an imbalance that eventually leads to unrest. But when a person commits to truthfulness, integrity, and fairness in every aspect of life, they create an atmosphere where peace can flourish. Justice begins at the personal level. It is being honest in business transactions, keeping promises, and treating family members with kindness and respect. It is standing for truth even when it is inconvenient. It is speaking out against oppression, whether it affects oneself or others. A heart that upholds justice is free from guilt anxiety, and fear. It is at peace, knowing that it has fulfilled its duty with sincerity. True peace is not just the absence of conflict, it is the presence of justice, where every soul receives its due and every heart is free from oppression. Gratitude is a key to peace because it shifts the focus from what is missing to what has already been given. Many people live in a constant state of restlessness, not because they lack blessings, but because they fail to recognize them. They compare themselves to others, always chasing more, always feeling like they are behind. This mindset creates anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction, robbing the heart of the peace it desperately seeks. True gratitude is not just saying thank you when things go well. It is a deep awareness that every moment, every breath, every opportunity is a gift. When a person wakes up with gratitude, their heart is light. They do not feel burdened by what they do. Gratitude brings contentment, and contentment brings peace. A grateful person does not waste energy complaining, resenting, or envying others. They do not let their joy be dictated by circumstances because they have trained their hearts to see goodness even in difficulty. They recognize that every challenge is a lesson. Every delay has wisdom. And every blessing, big or small, is an opportunity to grow. This outlook frees them from the endless cycle of worry and frustration, allowing them to walk through life with a calm and peaceful spirit. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful forces that lead to peace. Many people carry the weight of past hurts, allowing bitterness, anger, and resentment to take root in their hearts. They hold on to offenses, replaying painful experiences over and over again, not realizing that this only deepens their suffering. But true peace cannot coexist with a heart filled with grudges. A person who refuses to forgive is imprisoning themselves in their own pain. When a person forgives, they're not excusing the wrong done to them. They're choosing to free themselves from the control of that pain. Forgiveness is not about weakness. It is about strength. It takes strength to let go, to move forward, and to refuse to let the past dictate the future. Holding on to resentment does not harm the one who wronged us. It harms us. It steals our joy, clouds our judgment, and disrupts our inner tranquility. Forgiveness is a gift that we first give to ourselves before we extend it to others. It is a decision to release the burden of hatred and replace it with the peace of understanding. No matter how great the offense, the reward of forgiveness is greater. A heart that forgives is a heart that is at rest. It is a heart that has chosen peace over revenge, love over anger, and freedom over bondage. True peace begins when we learn to forgive not just others but also ourselves. Gratitude is a key that unlocks peace in the human heart. So many people are restless, constantly chasing after more success, more wealth, more recognition, thinking that fulfillment comes from having what they do not yet possess. But in this pursuit, they miss the true essence of peace, which is not found in accumulation, but in appreciation. When a person learns to be grateful for what they have, they shift their focus from what is missing to what is already present. This shift in perspective is life-changing. A grateful heart is a peaceful heart. It sees challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and every breath as a gift. It does not complain about what is lacking, but celebrates what has been given. When a person adopts an attitude of gratitude, they begin to experience contentment, and contentment leads to inner peace. Gratitude does not mean that one should stop striving for growth or improvement. Instead, it means finding joy in the journey, appreciating every step, and recognizing the blessings that already surround them. True peace is not about having everything, but about realizing that what has already been given is enough. When a person wakes up each day with gratitude in their heart, they no longer compare their lives to others, they no longer live in anxiety about the future, and they no longer dwell on the disappointments of the past. Gratitude transforms the way a person sees the world. It brings light into darkness, hope into despair, and ultimately peace into the soul. Forgiveness is one of the greatest pathways to peace. Many people carry burdens in their hearts, anger, resentment, bitterness, because of what others have done to them. They hold on to past wounds as if keeping them alive will somehow bring justice. But in reality, unforgiveness is a prison. It locks a person inside their own pain, allowing the past to dictate their present and future. True peace can never reside in a heart that refuses to let go. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongs or pretending that pain did not happen. It is about freeing oneself from the control of those wounds. When a person forgives, they are not just releasing the other person, they are releasing themselves. They are saying, I will not allow this pain to define me anymore. Holding on to grudges does not punish the offender. It only poisons the soul of the one who refuses to forgive. Peace flourishes in a heart that has learned to forgive. When a person surrenders their hurt and chooses to move forward, they experience a lightness that cannot be described. No longer weighed down by resentment, they become free to live fully, to love deeply, and to experience joy without limitations. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does transform the future. It turns pain into wisdom, suffering into strength, and turmoil into peace. True peace is achieved when a person understands their ultimate purpose in life. Many people search endlessly for fulfillment. Some chase wealth, others seek status, and many look for validation in the opinions of others. But none of these things bring lasting peace. True peace comes from alignment with divine purpose, from knowing that one was created with intention, designed for greatness, and placed on this earth to fulfill a mission greater than oneself. When a person embraces their purpose, they stop being anxious about the future. They no longer compare themselves to others or measure their success by temporary achievements. They understand that peace is not found in material things, but in living a life that reflects the values of truth, justice, and righteousness. This purpose-driven life eliminates confusion and replaces it with clarity. It removes fear and replaces it with confidence. It takes away doubt and fills the heart with unwavering faith. Purpose gives meaning to struggles, turning challenges into stepping stones rather than roadblocks. When difficulties arise, a purpose-driven person does not crumble. Instead, they see obstacles as opportunities to grow and refine their character. They understand that even pain and hardship have a role to play in shaping them into who they were meant to be. This understanding brings peace because it allows one to trust the process and walk in faith, knowing that every experience is part of a greater plan. A life without purpose is like a ship without a compass, drifting aimlessly, easily shaken by every storm. But a life anchored in purpose moves with direction, confidence, and stability. It is not swayed by the winds of uncertainty, but remains steady because it knows where it is going. And in that certainty, in that divine alignment, true peace is found. Peace is not something that comes from the outside. It is a state that is cultivated within. It is not the absence of problems, but the presence of divine understanding in the midst of life's challenges. True peace is found when a person surrenders their will to the one who created them, trusting that every moment, every struggle, and every blessing is part of a greater plan. When the heart is aligned with truth, when the soul submits to its creator, and when the mind is free from the distractions of this world, peace becomes a natural state of being. It is a peace that cannot be shaken by external circumstances, a peace that allows one to walk with confidence, knowing that they are never alone. This peace radiates outward, influencing families, communities, and entire societies. It turns fear into faith, anxiety into assurance, and conflict into harmony. It is the kind of peace that transforms individuals into beacons of hope and light in a world that desperately needs it. When this peace is embraced, life is no longer lived in reaction to the world, but in alignment with a higher calling. And in that calling there is rest, fulfillment, and an unshakable peace that nothing in this world can take away.